cameras there at this time. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Auto Hub show here at
Driving Sales in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, just in case you haven't visited.
That's right. And by the way, we're streaming live. So what's gone on in Vegas isn't staying in Vegas, obviously. We have another guest in our ambush interviews, and this time he's got the backdrop of the Repo Man and Ian and Sean Kelly. Sean, could you introduce yourself? Tell us about your company and what's going on.
I would be happy, and thank you guys for grabbing me and having me do a little. I love how you call it the ambush interview. That's fantastic. So that's an honor to be on your show. I'm Sean Kelly, the Carver's coach. I'm the CEO of Car Motivators. We are a leadership development company specific to the automotive space. We help automotive leaders achieve great results through their people and technology with a unique approach to people problems.
So tell me, you just mentioned unique approach. What, other than us, where we sneak up on you, unique. What is unique about your product?
I like that. Unique up on me.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we are actually, I guess one of the reasons why I got into coaching as opposed to training, so to speak, was because I felt like the industry has a lot of training, and there's a lot of people at the dealerships that are really good at their job, that there's kind of diminishing returns on training once people reach a certain plateau. And I like to be a coach of pro athletes. No, it's like the difference between coaching little league or professional sports, right? So coaches, I get to work with the top industry leaders, A players in the game, and ultimately that's just more rewarding for me. The training, it's built for scale in automotive, right? So you buy a platform, there's 75 other dealerships in your PMA taking the same training, and then when you stop taking that training, they take away your login for the portal, and that's it. And then how much of it has actually been retained? So with us, what we do differently, everything we do is customized for you and designed to empower you. And we have a top-down and a grassroots approach. So we give executive coaching to the senior leaders of the dealerships. And then we also customize everything, and we align the team around what vision of the senior leaders want. So it's very hands-on, it's very in-depth, and we support them, check in along the way. Whereas trainings, it's like, hey, here's your training, take your class, and then that's kind of it.
Well, I really like the fact that you're actually coaching the leaders versus just everybody else, because that's a recurring thing that we're hearing. The leaders are like, yeah, you know who I am. And before Ian asked the next question, at lunch, we were sitting there, and Rennie Sejas from Paulie said, did you know that Tiger Woods had 20 coaches or 22 coaches? No marriage coach. Ian.
No legal marriages.
I thought he was actually referring to his 22 remote coaches and his remote visits. Yeah, exactly.
A little bit of help in multiple areas, but he had some of it covered. So my question is, I mean, obviously, as you look at training coaches specifically in automotive, we hear this a lot where you have a salesperson, for example, who's quite successful, but then gets into management, and they just hope that he'll figure it out, or she. And we did have the pleasure at this conference on Sunday morning, the Women in Auto conference, which was quite interesting. But I guess my question would be, what's your top 5 things that you think most leaders in automotive should be doing?
Well, I think it just goes back to creating a winning culture. And, number one is communication is the foundation for success. So without communication, you really have nothing. So you got to start off by, opening up the channels. Like, how does each person on my team want to be engaged? When there's an issue, how do they want the individuals want me to bring it up to them? Also, am I as a manager open to the feedback from my team? Because you have to leverage in leadership. You have to leverage the law of reciprocity. And if I, the leader, am not open to hearing my team's expectations and views and where I can be better as a leader, then why would they want to be open to my suggestions? They'll do it because I'm their boss, but are they doing it because they follow me? That's the difference. So communication is number one. Number two would be alignment to the direction of the company. Every great leader has a vision for success, and clarifies that for their team and gets their team excited about it. And when their team's excited about the vision and they know what they need to do to contribute to that vision, then that's where you start getting into clear expectations.
So you don't mean just sell more cars?
No, not, I mean, not
No,
at all.
that's a clear vision. Sell
Right.
more cars.
Right, yeah, sell more cars. Well, yeah, that's a result of all the stuff we're talking about here. And if you focus on the process, the result will be fair to yourself. And and to that point is the last thing, which is I would say value of people. It's how much time are you investing? How well do you know every person on your team? Do you know their spouses' names, their kids' names, what they do for fun? Do you know what they want to accomplish in those? Do you help them understand the impact they have on everyone else around them and within your business? And if a leader makes separates management routine stuff, right? Like logging deals, updating, making sure the CRM's up to date, saving deal meetings, TOing customers. That's all management stuff, right? You have a leadership routine. What does that look like? What type of coaching sessions are you having with your team? How often are you coaching them? What wins have you been able to celebrate and attribute to those sessions? So that's what separates a leader from just another lesson.
Yeah, what?
I could talk about this stuff all day. You're asking awesome questions. Thank you.
Well, in the old days, we'd separate the men from the boys, but we don't do that anymore. But I want to go back to this, to talking about the leader coaching, because one of our earlier conversations today, I asked a question and I said, we're on the topic of salesperson turnover, and it was, why is that? Who's really, where does the buck really stop with the dealerships? Who's really responsible, and how do they, whoever that is, which I know the answer, how do they get better?
That's a good question. At the end of the day, the saying "people don't quit their jobs, they quit their leaders" is true, but there is some degree of healthy turnover, right? So, and I think one of the keynotes was talking about it. It's like, okay, if I'm bringing someone into my Purdue basketball team, and I know they're only going to be with me for a year, and then they want to go to the NBA, if I help them get there, is that good or bad that they quit and have gone to the NBA? And that's a question for you guys. What are your thoughts?
Well, I obviously think it's better that they've gone on to the NBA.
Yes, absolutely. And think about that type of player that you get by helping them achieve a result like that. So where I'm going with it is that, if there's healthy turnover, then that's what we should try to create. And ultimately, what's the manager's, this is the coaching question I ask managers all the time, what's your process for turning around underperformers? And how much time do you give them? And then at what point do you shake hands and part ways as friends, or solve the issue? And then it goes back to the communication thing, right? When there's a cultural issue or a barrier, something that's holding their success back, do they trust you enough, and do they feel like you have the care and concern and capacity to help them with that? In a perfect world, you're touching base with your employees regularly. You're finding out through questions when they need help, and you're addressing those issues as they come. So at the end of the day, if people are quitting on you, and I struggled with it for years before I learned to coach, so it's not like I'm like a perfect angel. I learned the hard way, but that's the key here. I learned from my failures and from my turnover, and I learned how to find out what motivates people and how to lead each person individually and coach them up. And that's what I want to help managers do in the auto industry. So at the end of the day, who's responsible? It's whoever the dealer decides which is usually the middle management, I would say. And then who's responsible for holding the middle managers accountable for turnover? Are you even measuring turnover? It definitely is an opportunity. I think what I find very few dealers measure turnover. Once we start coaching them, they do. But very few measure that. You guys see the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, what we find, we talk to dealers at scale, we talk to software companies at scale. I was actually going to break down today on Recon, which was kind of interesting. But more importantly, we both worked in dealerships, and I think part of the challenge that you see, to your point, is some dealerships are going to invest in the people, they want to build that culture, they want to move people forward. And some dealerships just accept the fact that they're going to leave 60% of staff, and then they complain about having to replace those and not giving them the tools they need to actually be successful. So I think part of it is also, I'm going to lose some staff, but what am I doing to invest in those people to make them better so they don't leave, but more importantly that they see the value of working for the company. When you look at the current marketplace today, where dealers seem to be doing everything right despite themselves, that I think is going to shift. Obviously, they should be investing right now in training and coaching, but they don't seem to be because they think suddenly that they've got it all figured out. So that I think is the biggest challenge facing the industry right now. But maybe you have some thoughts.
Yeah, Ian, it's crazy. I think the hardest part of what I do is trying to help dealers and the leaders and the managers of these dealers understand what coaching even is. Because like we've all grown up in the car business, right? So a lot of people really do what we see in our leader. So we've been, our managers tell us what to do, sell us and what to do, and then get pissed off at us and yell at us to get us to do something.
Yeah.
And because we really haven't, coaching is really it's leadership. So it's kind of a new premise. So I think it's really important that dealers are trying to keep up, just like you keep up to speed with the latest and greatest technology.
Yeah.
You also need to stay up to speed with the way we should be leading people in 2020.
Yeah, Jeff, maybe you can speak a little bit to your venture where you have a mentee who's also your partner in a used car and how that's going. Like how do you feel coaching him?
You can lead a horse to water, but I've coached this guy for a long time. He was one of my salespeople, and he's got a great entrepreneurial spirit, and it's a little used car lot, but it's a challenge, and I know that. I always felt I was a coach. Who knows if I really was? I think I was, but and it is tough because you got somebody that says, look, I'm going to start from the ground up. I opened up my own place. I put my own money in it. I am the boss. Never been a boss. I am the boss. And I want it this way. And I know you must run into that. I know there's a challenge for you because right now, and this is what we're hearing right now, it's not, I don't need that. Last year I made more money than ever. And the year before I made more money than ever. And I'm not paying anything. I have no expenses and I don't really need to add an expense. So how do you lead those horses to water and make them drink?
That's a great question. Everyone wants more of something. And that's what it boils down to. And the further out you go and the bigger the vision for success and the more clarity you have on it, then the more help you can give someone. So I would say start with the end in mind. Sit down with that person and find out, like, hey, if everything went perfectly for you over the next 3 years, what would success look like? What would you be doing more of? I'm sharing some of my favorite coaching questions around this. What would you be doing less of? What would make work more fulfilling for you? How do you, what other skills would you have mastered? Where else could you possibly want to go here? And find out what they want more of, and then discuss if helping them get there makes sense. And then moving forward, every time you need to engage that dealer, that person, that employee, you can recruit them to your conversation using that information. Can I share a specific example?
By all means.
Okay, so there was this 30-a-month sales consultant named Gil in New Jersey. Now he's been promoted and he's a manager, which is great. Gil's a phenomenal human being and a great professional. But Gil wanted to have an awesome wedding for his wife, and they were engaged. He was a fiance at the time. He wanted to get her an awesome engagement ring. He was already selling a ton of cars, making a ton of money. But when I found that out, I was like, so for that vision to become a reality, how many more cars do you need to sell? And he kind of came up with a number, and I was like, how would you go about doing that? And he's like, well, you know what, I don't use Facebook marketing enough. And so as a result of this conversation, Gil started his whole personal brand. He reactivated his Facebook page, Get a Car from Gil, became his hashtag and his branding, and that led to, video testimonials from customers he's posting online and referrals, and it all goes back to what does Gil want more of? He's already successful, but what does he want more of? We're humans and we all want growth, and that's something that we should, imagine what that means when you help other people get more of what they want and less of what they don't want, how that feels as a leader. It's powerful. Does that help you?
I think that's tremendous. I like where do you want to be in 3 years? And of course, goes back to the old days when we hired people. Where do you picture yourself in 5 years? Well, I want to have a Ferrari. I want to live on the hill and a Rolex.
You have a coach in you after all.
Oh, yes, I do.
I figured with your awesome question.
Stop it. You're right.
I love it. It's always nice to meet another leader with the heart of it.
Yeah, and we also had a comment from LinkedIn. This comment
Word. Oh God, sorry, man.
The other question I had is kind of interesting, just from a point of view of dealers as they look at a shift to maybe a shift in the process from an ethical point of view or a shift in the process from retention from the service point of view, and obviously multiple shifts as you move towards electric cars. Do you think all of these shifts happening simultaneously in addition to a lack of new car inventory, a lack of used car inventory, are going to force them to eventually realize that maybe they don't know?
That's a great pain and discomfort can certainly cause someone to decide they need to change. I couldn't agree more. I think that we are at a really unique time, and the change is happening faster than ever, and none of us knows what's around the corner. And you know what? In reality, we never can. It's no different than back last year in December 3rd, right before I got COVID on my eye. I had no clue that was going to happen. I mean, I had plans. I was going to be on vacation this day, and I was going to travel this day and go to work the next day, and all that crap got thrown out the window when I almost died. The thing is no one can predict the future, but here's what we can do, right? Focus on what we have control over, which is driving positive change in our business through our leadership. And that's what coaching does. When the leaders learn how to find out what everyone wants most, create a vision for success, align the team to that, get them excited, and then clarify those expectations, hold people responsible in a positive and supportive way, with open communication. Bottom line, then you can't not succeed, because now you're proactively driving change and growth with your company, and you're staying ahead of the changes that would happen to you if you sat on your
Keister.
I got an old soul. We had the same word, keister. Like 2 years ago.
Exactly.
You lost 4 points there.
Any final thoughts?
No, I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Very nice to meet you in person. That's the beauty of all this stuff. I did discover you're not 4 inches tall. You're a little bit taller than that. And what a great business. I think it's truly, like you said, there's a lot of trainers. We have a trainer on our sponsor team, and he's an entertainer trainer, but coaching is a big deal. And I think that's one of the things that dealerships are challenged with right now tremendously, because at the moment things are going well. Unfortunately, we all think that there's people, the operators, be they be general managers, partners, group CEOs, whatever you call them, are people with that idea in their head that they have to get better because it's going to stop being easier. It can't get any easier than now. And coaching's a big deal. And the old saying is, if you want money to grow, invest it today.
Yeah, and the other famous saying is, if you want close interest, invest in yourself. 100%. Thanks for taking the time today. Really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great event here. Are you going to be here for Digital Dealer as well?
I have so many projects going on. Unfortunately, I have to fly out tomorrow, but I am so glad we got to meet in person. Ian,
Absolutely, same here.
Thank you guys for having me on the show. It's an honor.
Thank you. And we're out. That was great. Thank you. You're a very, very good guest. Thank you.
Oh, no.